After a very bad day at the Oval Office, President Volodymyr Zelensky has arrived in London, imploring the US to stand more firmly on Ukraine's side. The transatlantic alliance, which has sustained his country in the years since the Russian invasion, appeared in ruins last night when the world watched his very public falling out with President Trump at the White House. Mr. Zelensky will shortly sit down with the Prime Minister ahead of a meeting of Europe's leaders tomorrow, which is framed by the clear differences which now exist with Washington over striking a peace deal with Putin. Amy Lewis reports.
Touching down on safer ground, President Zelensky hopes his visit to London helps fix the mess he's just left behind in Washington.
You're in no position to dictate what we're going to feel.
Even by President Trump's standards, this was an extraordinary tirade.
You don't have the cards right now. With us, you start having cards. Right now, you don't. You're playing cards. You're playing cards. You're gambling with the lives of millions of people. You're gambling with World War III.
Just before he left Washington, Zelensky said Ukraine is still prepared to sign a US proposed minerals deal, but needs security guarantees.
I think that we have to be on the same side, and I hope that the president on our side together with us, and that is very important to stop Putin.
I think it's disrespectful for you to come into the Oval Office and try to litigate this in front of the American media.
The Oval Office meeting was organised to help improve strained relations, but became a disaster in diplomacy.
I think President Zelensky was put in a very difficult position because we shouldn't forget that English is his third language. And so I don't think it was right of President Trump and Vice President Vance to sort of put him under that public pressure in that way right at the top of the meeting. Essentially, you have diplomacy conducted as a reality TV show.
There's been no public reaction from Putin, but this, the message from the Russian military. Ukraine say 9 drone strikes were conducted overnight. 1 hit a medical facility for chronically ill patients. Old alliances and assumptions are being shattered, and the Western alliance is fracturing. But Ukraine and Europe are well aware they need America on side.
And Amy's in Downing Street now. Amy, it's now a critical weekend of diplomacy in London after that disaster in Washington.
Yes, President Zelensky is due here any time to meet the Prime Minister. Sir Keir Starmer is clearly hoping to act like some kind of bridge between the nations. Downing Street have already said that he has spoken to both President Zelensky and Trump since that Oval Office meeting. Other European leaders have also given their support to the Ukrainian leader since he met President Trump. All of this is building up to tomorrow. And of course, there's this huge summit taking place here in London. There's going to be more than a dozen European leaders taking part in that. They will be discussing the future of Ukraine and how they move on from what happened yesterday. And of course, it has taken on even added importance following on from that meeting with President Trump.